And here is your buddy Darrell Issa on Fox Business News talking about how Democrats are overplaying their hand if they think they can hold people to account for this.
We need to go to Darrell Issa for strategy discussions.
Here he is with Maria Bartiromo.
That an impeachment trial wouldn't begin until 1 o'clock on January 20th after the president is a former president. So a trial would never actually happen. So what is this then? Is this for show? Is this so that he won't run again? If the reality of it, with 9 days left, that it actually can't happen in terms of a trial?
Well, it's probably similar to shutting off the Twitter feed of somebody after his presidency is essentially over. It's kicking when he's down. It's getting rid of 88 million people who follow and listen to the president. There's no question at all that I think the liberals saw an opportunity, a misstep by the president that they're going to overplay, and they're overplaying it as we speak. They're overplaying a lot of things, including the death of these people on Capitol Hill. It was a terrible event, terrible things. People need to be punished, but of course they're trying to use it to imply that there's only one side that has violence, and completely ignoring all of last year and the unchecked violence from the left.
So Darrell Issa is just very concerned about the overplaying and the dramatization and the political usage of deaths of people.
Can you imagine also like sort
Which
of
is why
equating the Twitter followship of somebody as some type of like civic right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But the point is that Darrell Issa was one of the key Republicans in the Benghazi hearings.
Yes.
Tens of Benghazi hearings. 4 people died in Benghazi, 4 Americans. 5 Americans died in the Capitol assault. He's concerned about overplaying something.
Donald Trump had a misstep. He had a misstep. He accidentally stumbled into promoting the seizure of the Capitol building and the stringing up of the vice president who would not overrule
Trump accidentally said
election.
Irregardless. It was a misstep.
It was a misstep.
And then people rioted. Issa, and again, you point out the Twitter following, the false equivalence that seems to be what Republicans are going with and Fox News is going with right now. But also the weird concern for Trump's personal feelings, right? So he says they're kicking him when he's down.
Yeah.
This is like when Ainsley Earhardt was most concerned about Mike Pence and Trump's fractured relationship. Like, this isn't Days of Our Lives. This is people. These are the most powerful people in the country. I'm not really concerned about Trump's feelings about his Twitter account. That's a separate issue. What I am concerned about is the rise of fascism in the country, encouraged by the president, and holding him to account for that. Those are the big issues. Twitter's bigger, I guess. Here
is Brian Kilmeade from Fox News and Fox and Friends.
Yeah.
This morning, doing the same work. There's obviously been a set of talking points that have gone out to Trump TV, to all of the remaining Trumpistas, and that is, of course, that this is only going to divide us. The idea that you would hold people to account for storming the Capitol and killing people is only going to be divisive. It's the holding to account that's divisive. Continue. Let's play this. Clip number 3.
Right. But I think if you want to unite the country, it's not the right way to go.
There's no doubt about it. You're 100% right. It is not the way to go. We don't care about what Nancy Pelosi thinks about the President of the United States. When is she going to understand
that's the motivation.
That we don't care. Can somebody put the country first? Right. At some point, can we stop the intramural games? It's an embarrassment. Right. It's inflaming the entire population.
We need vaccines. We need to reopen. Yeah. That's what we need to focus on.
What other proof do they need? You saw what happened. Why would you get At the very least, even though everyone condemns it, you have to acknowledge it. The anger is off the charts. And you see it in the small delis and the restaurants that are intense and the anger that people have on every single level.
Just go on Twitter, go on Instagram, read some of the comments under Democrats or under Republicans. It's on both sides.
If your account's not frozen. Speaking of that.
Wait, what did Ducey say there at the end? The idea, I mean, it sounds to me like he's just forgiving the whole thing. And I love the idea. It's like, all of these things that are wrong with our government. Well, I got news for you. Who's been controlling this? Where were you weeks ago, months ago, talking about the failure to do the things like the vaccine and whatnot? But this idea that somehow it is always when Democrats get elected, the unity is always their responsibility. And the idea that that on some level, holding these people to account, holding Donald Trump to account is going to exacerbate, like, what happens after that? Like, how does that what is supposed to happen after that? Like, where do we, like, on this one, we turn it up to 11. Like, I don't understand. We're divided. That's just the reality of this. And I think, to the credit of the Democrats, there seems to be an acknowledgement and an understanding of this, that there is no fixing this until we account for it.
Yeah. And again, I keep repeating that I think part of what a lot of people are underestimating is because it personally affected them and they personally experienced it, which isn't the best praise for the Democrats, because hopefully they could just empathize with other things and then hold Republicans accountable for the harm they cause outside of the halls of Congress. But still, this is the right thing that they're doing, and we should praise them for it. But Kilmeade, that was one of his most infuriating moments, because in the Republican world, Trump is the ultimate alpha male. We'll get to that clip eventually, right? He's the ultimate macho dude, but yet he has no agency. He has no responsibility for anything in the country, no responsibility for the divisiveness that they cite as the president of the United States, no responsibility for the lack of vaccine distribution that Kilmeade suddenly cares about and Ainsley Earhardt are suddenly really, really concerned about. He's not responsible for any of it. It's always the left's divisiveness, but only when they're in power. You're worried about uniting the country. Your guy's Donald Trump. He calls everybody names. He rips the country apart on racial lines and incited an insurrection. So when you want to talk about divisiveness, you have to do that first.
Can we say what's needed now is simple, is that all that they said about the election being stolen were lies. Because frankly, if a landslide was overturned, like what that calls for in a population is pretty severe. And until those lies are walked back and admitted for the lies they were, there's going to be a severe problem about anger in this country.
That
Trump's
is exactly,
never gonna lie.
If you want to unify
never gonna take it
this
back.
country,
Yeah.
and you have a platform like Brian Kilmeade, or you have one like Darrell Issa, you get on there and say, hey, you've been fed an entire meal of lies. The election wasn't stolen. We were wrong. We were wrong to push it day in, day out. Wrong to push this. The president's wrong, and stand down. And until until they start to push that message 24/7, even remotely close to the message that they pushed building up to the election and after the election, they have no standing whatsoever.